Hi, and welcome to Rappler Talk. I'm Chris Schnabel. Today we're going to be talking about the driving force in the economy, young people, or as they're called nowadays, millennials. So millennials constitute the majority of the workforce now, and the Philippines' median age is of course 23. And here to give us a unique perspective, a unique insight into the psyche and how they think is the driving force, the chair mom, actually, of one of the country's premier creative agencies, Dentsu Jaime Saifu, Miss Merlee Jayme. Hi, Merlee. Thanks for taking some time out of your, what I'm sure is a very, very busy schedule of yours, being one of the premier agencies. So, can you tell us a little bit about Dentsu Jaime Saifu?
Okay, Dentsu Jaime Saifu is pretty new. We're a month old. Well, here in the office, we're a month old, but we opened our doors January this year.
It doesn't look it, by the way. It's a fantastic office,
It's
very open.
very bare, which is nice.
Yeah. It's quite nice, though.
So we're a new family because I used to have an agency with 33 people, then it grew to 50. But now with the new merger with the Dentsu Aegis network, we're now 100.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
100
I have new faces here, bigger family.
Fantastic. And I noticed that most of the faces here are young faces, millennial faces, shall we say.
Yeah, I know I'm part of that, but yes, we have a lot of young
I'm sure you are.
Yes, yes.
Like, we're not really sure, or there's no concrete definition of a millennial. I guess the general definition is between 18 to 30 or to 35. But one thing that isn't in question is their growing importance. So basically, their spending power globally is estimated at about 2 trillion now, and locally they're a big force. So I was wondering, from your perspective, being in the creative arts and marketing and creating campaigns, how important are they to the market? Like, are firms really trying to connect with them?
Okay, in my world, you feel the importance of a target market when every single client is trying to run after them. So when there's a time it was mothers, or let's say yuppies. You remember that word. Today, almost every single client I have would want to understand the millennials more and more. So I guess they know the power of the millennials. They want a share of wallet of all of these young people. So then I could feel the importance already. So we started researching, we started interviewing, so we to get a piece of how they think, how they spend, where do they go, what kind of psyche do they have. It's pretty new, but it's very different as well, very different from our batch, definitely. So for example, I would explain it like they are big fans of the shared economy, or what you call the trust economy.
Trust economy, so that's like Uber,
Airbnb. You know why? Because they hate owning. They hate commitments. That's what I found out. For example, us, my batch, maybe not yours, my batch, our badge of success is when we own a car.
Of course.
When we own a house, stable income, insurance, lots of kinds.
Very responsible things.
Yeah, responsible, what our parents want us to be.
Mm-hmm.
This is totally different. They don't want to own anything. They don't want to commit themselves long term with anything. They just want to rent, get out, change their place, rent again, and it's pretty fast or easy to get out of it. So they're very scared of commitment. I know that's probably the reason why they also get married very late.
Very late now. Yeah,
And
I think it's almost into the 30s now.
Yeah,
if I'm not
there was
mistaken.
already a time when they get married at 30s. Now they don't even want to leave their homes or their families. So they don't
So
want.
it's a way to save.
I know, but the thing is, us, we save for the future. Them, they save for Saturday. So it's not like...
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, because they sort of like enjoy. They want to enjoy life as it is. And they don't worry too much, which I actually like to acquire, that kind of psyche.
Very carefree.
For a
flexible.
creative director, and that I became so square when I look at them and the way they do things.
Oh, come on! I'm sure it's not as bad as you say.
Yeah, so I'm kind of envious because the way they are, they're braver.
Okay.
because they'd rather, like, us, we need a car. Then you go through traffic. Them, just Uber.
Uber.
Wait for it to go down the price and let's move again.
It's there.
And that's how they are.
And they don't have to park, which is fantastic.
No parking.
Save on hassle, and I guess you save on,
Yeah.
on gas as well.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious. So firms, like as you mentioned, everyone and his mother is basically looking to target millennials. One of the things I'm curious about, though, is the median age of the Philippines is 23. And since it's a developing economy, the spending power won't be as strong for a millennial, for the average millennial at least, as someone who's between the age of 35 and 45. Do firms take this into account, or are they still a very strong? Is the spending power still there? Like that?
I think there is. It's just that whether you're millennial or not, when you target someone, the economy doesn't change. The kind of spending we do is the same. So even if it's not a millennial, even if you're an older targeting an older market, the spending is the same. Okay, it's not really a big diff because of the country or our spending power in this country. However, the millennials, I tend to see that they get so loyal. There's a little bit, they hate commitment, but they're a bit loyal. They're loyal in a way that if they like something, they really kill for it. So maybe that's one thing we're going for these companies. My daughters are millennials. I have two. The way they stick to a brand that they really like.
Okay, so it's brand loyalty.
Yeah, it is brand loyalty. It's they don't want commitment, long term, but when they find something nice, a network, let's say, a telco network, or a certain
don't have too
brand,
many choices there, but
yeah, a certain brand of, let's say, coffee. I don't see them like us, like when there's a promo, we go. Them, they try all of it, but they stick to it. So maybe there are things which we're trying to find out today about marketing to these young minds, why we like to still target, even if you're saying their probably share of wallet is a bit smaller than the rest of the world. But there is merit to it.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean like their share of the wealth is smaller relative to the rest of the world. I meant like relative to maybe their parents or the generation who I guess just
the earlier generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the same because our generation is matipid. We're kind of like very also the way we spend is not so much. Maybe the A's, but this country is made of the C's and the lower C's and going down, right? They spend a lot on what they like. Okay. It may not be expensive, but of what they like. Go now to the age, go younger to the age. It's almost the same. It's just that the way they love something is different. The
So
way,
they really go for it.
yeah, even for let's say endorsers and the way we used to do that, the way we spend for things and like when they're indoors, they don't tend to believe on endorse. I believe they have their own minds now. But if they love you, regardless of your endorsement, they would still go for you. So there is something there that's, I think, marketing people are trying to tap into. It's still a learning process. And as they get younger, it changes.
Yeah, it
So it's
changes
very
again.
exciting, actually.
Yeah, so I guess the job never gets boring since you're constantly
It doesn't,
learning.
yeah. We're still
So-
learning.
So I guess get them young, for brands or for firms, get them young, and you have, unless you don't make any big mistakes, a customer for life, shall we say?
And because if they don't like you, they write it on
They'll-
social media.
Oh, that's true. So they have to be extra careful with quality control as well.
Also.
That's an interesting facet.
They're
actually.
not like our batch that we were taught by our parents to be quiet about things. These people,
They speak their
they will
minds.
speak up, about it.
Okay, so what are some of the ways that you've seen different? What are some of the methods of reaching out to them, of creating campaigns that resonate with them? What are some things that have really clicked, shall we say, with the young minds?
It's not really a bit different as well. The big mistake is because they're young, the older marketing people would go like, oh, let's go for the gimmicks. Like, what do they like? What kind of food? What kind of music? What? I don't think that's the way, really. That's the very obvious one. In fact, they can smell if it's an older person trying to market to them, trying to get it into their shoes. They could smell it from a mile away, you know. It sounds old. It's just like what you're saying about the social media platforms when all your titas and your moms are in there. They know it and they leave it, right? Fast. They have dead accounts. They have dead accounts, right? Pictures never changing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think for me, it doesn't really change. No, whatever target market you really talk to, you go exactly to insights. Go to real human insights. Try to get into truths about people. Okay? When you observe people that well, you'll understand. Because, for example, even if you come up with a commercial or a long film on OFWs, you'd think it won't touch them. I mean, what do they care? May not be relatable to them, not relevant at all. But you'll be surprised. Some of those people reacting in social media on a certain spot, let's say for OFWs, can be A, B, C, upper C, millennials who felt
all the
touched.
strata.
Yeah. So I guess the
Emotional connection.
Yes, for as long as it talks to them in a real human way, not disguising into what the hip hop music or whatever, or this kind of
Gimmicks, as you said.
trying to be young. You can still talk to them by showing real issues at home, at work, in their lives. Show vulnerable topics like fear, anger, love. They won't relate to it. It's just a matter of, let's say, instead of putting old people there, put their age, and
so that it's more relatable to them.
yeah,
so
that's probably me. Yeah. But like what I was saying about OFWs, maybe they have OFWs in their families, for example, and they could relate somehow.
Yeah.
Even if they don't see themselves in the spot. So that's actually, when I saw people reacting that way, millennials reacting that way, I go like, okay, there is a way talking to these people.
Oh, okay, fantastic. How have millennials, because they've become such a force now that everybody is trying to target them or to sort of click with them, I guess. As we all know, millennials are almost defined on social media, shall we say? They're the generation that's grown up with social media, and so they know the ins and the outs of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Has that changed the way campaigns are done? There's like new and innovative way. I mean, Facebook and Twitter and all these platforms are constantly changing or adding new features. So
I guess it's a matter of, in the olden times, when you have a message, the only three things that get to your consumers would be TV, radio, and print. It's just a matter of now, if you're talking to these people and you know that these people are always on those platforms, how do you really direct your message to them using what they are used to? So if you want to really target them, you have to be there, or you have to at least understand
how it works and how the
I also
audience engagement is.
I also have Snapchat, for example, and I know exactly what to do.
Well, perhaps you can teach me.
Yeah, the only thing I could do is Tinder, really. but the thing is, I have to understand it myself so that I can still make my message really touch them in whatever thing they look at. But that's it. It's more of like sort of medium.
A medium. I see.
Yeah.
Does marketing on using these platforms, is it easier, I guess, or how is it different from other like older platforms like television or radio, where you don't have the real-time engagement?
Oh, it's not definitely easy because TV, radio, and print is something I could produce even a month before, a week before, and then it's placed well in the medium, so it just runs, okay? And then if you're lucky, and if it's a good campaign, people will talk about it in the papers. You wait again. Or probably, happened to me, my spot was talked about by the priest in a sermon. Oh, you know? So,
These
so
are the
that,
kind of things you
those are
probably cannot plan for no matter
I know.
what,
So,
right?
but the thing is, it is stock value because they use it as an example. So I'm happy. Before that was my measure of
Fantastic.
happiness. Yes. Now,
The
when I
buzz.
say when I say it's not easy, before you even put something out there, you sort of like think, what could be the worst comment you'll get? Because your consumers today answer back
Yeah.
before they.
Yeah, it's in real
There's
time.
no
It's
way. Yeah, I
instant.
can just put something out there and just wait.
Yeah.
Or not wait at all, just put something out there.
So
That's
once
it.
you're done,
My
you wash
job's
your hands
done.
of it and like you
Yeah,
just
and
sit and
then
hope.
wait for the next and
Now
do
it's
another
constantly.
one, right? Now I'm pretty much every time we put out something there, we sort of expect what could be the worst comment, what could be the nice comment, what could be the effect on these people, and what could happen in the next 24 hours. It's not like you upload it and then a week. No way. It's like right there you see it coming up or coming up of love comments or hate comments, right? So it's a very fast world we're living now, and that's why it's pretty hard because you have to be prepared all the time. You're always on your toes. If it's bad, take it out, come up with a new one, and then wait again. And it's fast. It's fast. And I'm just talking about one. What if you put in the different
all these different
formats
platforms.
and you have to
Uh-oh.
watch all of it? So social media it's not easy.
Imagine.
First, you have to entertain them or get their attention. You know they have ADHD. I mean, I use that as a joke because for me, I feel that.
I think,
It's
I think
3
social
seconds.
media
It's 3 seconds, yeah.
in general kind of plays into that or kind of influences that because there's so much going on all the time.
Yes.
So much info all the time.
We call it you're just a swipe away.
There you
So
go.
if it's boring, they're going to swipe on you and forget about you. So you have to catch their attention. That's the most important thing. So entertain, touch their hearts, make them cry, make them angry, make them comment. For me, even if it's negative, for as long as they commented, I'm happy, really. Of course,
Yeah.
my clients won't be. But the thing is, for me, people reacting to your work and not just like ignore it is a good
It's
sign.
good, it's a plus.
It's a good sign.
So, in the age of social media and the rise of the millennial, is any publicity, that old adage of is any publicity good publicity, is that still
It's still
ring true?
Well, for
Still
us,
rings true.
for us creatives it is, but I know for client side, of course, I'd rather have all nice, positive comments. It's still their brand, but for me, anything for as long as it doesn't, get ignored or bore, because that's the whole point while you put out something there. I gauge work that's good when it makes me nervous. So if I see something or I make something or write something or anyone here in my office come up with an idea that makes me sweat and excites me and
Well, I guess that resonates then, right? It's
it
rattled you.
means it will when you upload it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes.
Fantastic. You have lots of experience with campaigns all around the world. Is there something that you've noticed, a particular character trait amongst millennials in the Philippines or young people in the Philippines that's specific to young people here that doesn't necessarily hold true, for example, in Germany or in the UK or in China?
Well, two things, but I'm not sure if just for the millennials, it's really the Filipinos in social media in general, but mostly young.
Mostly young.
We're very
mostly the young. on
mostly the
social
young was
media.
time. They have the time to do these things, but
That's true too.
right? We're very creative. Our memes, everything that happens real time, and the
noticed
way
that.
we do things, put together pictures.
The news story comes out in the morning, and by the evening, for
Yeah.
sure you'll see memes about it.
It's so funny. I mean, I wish I could hire all those people who would do it. It's really funny.
Anybody is listening.
Yeah.
Now's your chance.
Right? So they're fast because that's the nature of the social media world. You have to be fast. So if it happens now in what 2 seconds, 3 seconds, meme uploaded. It should be that fast, and so that's one thing. We're very creative. The way we make fun of things, okay, and which is the next one is kind of related. It's more of like we find the happiness in everything.
Oh, okay.
We are sort of like that kind of people.
Enthusiastic, joyful people, I guess.
Yeah, even
Optimistic.
Yeah, very optimistic. Even in dire situations or in let's say negative situations, we turn it around and have a laugh at it.
Yeah.
And I don't see that in other countries.
It's true, actually.
Not
Like,
the way
here,
we would do it.
most of the campaigns are very uplifting, very
Yeah,
joyful.
and we make jokes out of. I mean, we're pretty much a happy people. That we make jokes out of things that happen to us sometimes. So, it's. I think life is poor, here in the country, but we know how to turn it around. That just makes ourselves happy. Yeah. So.
Very cool. So eventually, age will catch up to these millennials. In fact, there's already a generation that's coming up, although I can't quite remember the name of this new generation. But when these millennials finally settle down and get married, how do you think that'll affect them, the economy, and how will that affect your world?
It hasn't happened, so I'm not so sure if how it will be, but but it's very interesting because the millennials were born into a world where the internet was being born as well. Like
They
so, it's
kinda
the
grew up
same.
with the internet.
They grew up together, while the next generation grew up or was born into a world with it already, with gadgets all over them. As a baby, they would eat with an iPad. I see that in restaurants.
Yeah, there's that famous one where there was a baby who had an old magazine and she was trying to swipe it.
Yes,
Right?
yes, right. So
That's a microcosm of the world.
So can you imagine them grown up too? It's a totally different situation. But what I could say is that you can, while we're teaching our millennials so much of our batch, I think it's nice to open our eyes and learn from them as well because they might have a different way of dealing with family, with being bosses in their own rights. You can see that in startups. It's totally different the way probably an older generation would be on top of a company.
Yeah.
But startups now are in their 20s and mid-20s, and you see how they are. This is when I own a company. It breaks my heart if I have to sell it. It's we build it, right?
Yeah,
it's just
it's like your child,
my
your
baby.
Yeah.
Then you see this startup, they open, few years, they sell it, and they become billionaires overnight.
Yes.
And it's just so easy. Probably start up again and then sell it
Another
again.
one,
So
idea,
it's the same.
idea after idea.
Yeah, I hope they don't do that with wives and husbands.
Okay, no, I think certain values still.
Yeah,
hold
I
true.
hope we taught them certain values. Okay, but the thing is, they're a lot braver in that sense, and the way growth for them is different. It's not the way like keep it and nurture it and then later on my daughter will inherit it maybe. Maybe my daughter doesn't like it. She'll start up her own, sell it, start another one, sell it, and probably make more money than I would in my lifetime. But so it's a different way in terms of being on top of a company.
Yeah.
In the family, I'm not so sure of because unless I've seen some, but I see them very ambitious. What I probably saved up for, like a house, let's say, after 20 years, probably get it in less. First, they want to rent, but they want to rent a mansion. They want to rent
They want
a
the
nice
flexibility.
condo in the right smack in the middle. They're very choosy because before when we're scared to do it, they're not. They know they can. So there's nothing
Very
impossible.
confident.
Very confident. There's
Actually,
nothing
it's something-
impossible. Yeah.
I think that's something that there was a survey that came out just this week actually by the World Economic Forum. And one of the things it showed was that they know that there are problems in the world, but they're confident that they'll be the ones that solve them.
Yeah.
But I'm curious. So what are your hopes then for you have millennial children? What are your hopes for them then beyond being able to rent a mansion? 2 years from now, it looks like.
No, I hope they start up something. We're in a family of creatives. I mean, my daughters are also creatives. When you're creative, you create. So meaning you start something. I know the future of this country is SMEs, right? And for us during my batch, being an SME is something, whew, I should have a capital. There's so many
Yeah.
barriers to it. I
So
should
many
have a
different worries. It was
capital.
almost
Maybe I'm
thought
not.
of as thinking irresponsibly
Yeah.
if you think that way.
Yeah, and then I would hire people. There's too many. I'd rather be an employee, right? There's a certain batch of thinking that we were like that. We were raised that way, and then probably move up the corporate ladder. These people can create something from nothing. So I hope they would. I won't stop in doing that. They could start up something, create something, and then maybe be proud of it from creating something from nothing and become famous for it, rather than just the way I was brought up to be. And
Well, it seems to me that you're an outlier to your generation then, because maybe you were brought up that way, but I mean, look what you've created. You've started up your own agency, and it's a very creative way of looking at it. So it does beg the question, I guess. Are you jealous of the new generation, or?
well, I know that part of the success, probably whatever success I was blessed with, is because of what I know from my generation. But I also would say I learned a lot from the young. I always surround myself with young minds because I'm awed and impressed and inspired by how brave they are, how the word is fearless. In my world, in a creative world, being fearless is very important. You cannot put yourself in a box and do same things every day. So the way to learn, you never stop learning. So the way to learn is really observe them. I'm one of those who would open my eyes to how they work and let them be. But I also do a little disciplining
Yeah, of course.
because
Yeah.
I know they will get that from me and it will help them too. So a little
Self-discipline,
balance would be good. I'm jealous because they're braver. When I was that age, I wasn't that brave, but they're braver at such a young age. But maybe I know that I was also blessed that I know some things that put. I have 4 children. I've been married for 25 years. I think the
Congratulations.
stability of that was based on what I learned from my parents.
Almost like the best of both worlds. In that
Yeah, the
sense.
balance is perfect.
Very cool. And finally, as a last thought, so you mentioned earlier that as a creative, now it's so much more stressful. It's so much more. Your job is so much more stressful and so much more immediate. A lot of it has to do with social media. And as we know, technology keeps moving forward. There's going to be even more platforms. There's going to be even more ways of communicating. The question is, are you worried? I mean, it seems like
No,
no, not at
I
all.
embrace all this new stuff. That's the reason why I merged with Dentsu, a Japanese company. They're known very very big in their business to be in technology and innovation. So I'd love to learn more about that. We have a robotics guy here.
Oh wow.
And actually, girl is more like it.
Yeah.
And we
Future proof.
yes, maybe because I'm in the right business to be more open to technology and innovation. So I'm not worried at all. I like it. I embrace it, and I'd love to learn from it all the more. So we're in our exciting times.
Do you think we're heading in the
Yeah,
good direction?
yeah. My agency brought out the first low-tech mobile technology that won this country the first Grand Prix in the world.
Ah, this is the
The smart textbooks, and it's just a
fantastic.
very low-tech technology. After that one, I want to understand and improve technology because this agency should come up with the next,
Yeah.
and by doing so, it will help this country out. So.
Fantastic. So not worried then that a robot, or AI will eventually take over your job.
Well, yeah, but they can't feel anything anyway, so
And by then you'll probably be on the beach enjoying anyway.
yes, why not?
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, Merlee, for
Thank you.
giving us some insights into the young mind and also where their minds are headed, where the future is headed. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.